All right. Thank you, GitLab moderator. So welcome to the Revenue Marketing Group conversation. I'm Leslie Blanchard, responsible for our field marketing program here at GitLab. And before we hop into the questions section, and maybe we'll give some time to populate a few more questions, I just want to share a quick narrative on field marketing at GitLab. So normally at this point in the year, I would have flown more than 2 times for work travel. Because as field marketers, we anticipate being out in the field at least 50% of the time. But of course, 2020 has turned out to be quite different for us. So I do want to thank the Worldwide Field Marketing team for their quick and collaborative work on redoing their Q1 plans and Q2 plans to support the virtual world that we're living in. So looking back to last year really quickly, about 80% of the work that we did in the field was really third-party events focused. So focusing on getting our brand out into the marketplace, really at the regional level. And rolling into 21, we wanted the field marketing team to feel a sense of ownership for marketing holistically and their region not be so events focused. So thanks COVID, just basically accelerated the pivot for us. So each field marketer has been working closely with the SDR, sales folks, SA pairing, and it's been really rewarding to see the fun ideas that the teams come up with. So I'd say the spectrum ranges from virtual workshops, adapted from in-person workshop that actually our public sector team was able to execute in February, which is really more focused on the consideration and decision stage of the business, to surveying targeted accounts, to third-party hosted virtual workshops. And some of those actual virtual workshops, or I'm sorry, the virtual events had virtual booths, and some where we've had to use chat to kind of really help foster that interaction with the attendees. So the workshops have really highlighted our audience is craving this type of interaction with GitLab. So in America, we've had 2 already, each sold out in less than 2 hours. And our June workshop sold out in a day. So, and I'm really excited to see that we've got the next 2 workshops on the calendar already. So we're getting folks to pre-register for those as well. And, you know, it's really important to note that with these workshops, much like everything we do in field marketing, we really couldn't do it without the help of our awesome SAs and our NPM colleagues. So really wanted to thank them for their great work. And just really quickly on EMEA and APAC. So in EMEA, it's been really rewarding to see how language localization has helped, you know, increase the participation from attendees. So in France, we had over 2,000 people register for a 2-day workshop. And on the fun side of that, the team also enabled a session for kids to join their parents for a day at the virtual office where the kids actually learned how to code. And then in APAC, which probably most of them are sleeping right now, so they're not on the call, our team doubled this quarter. So we've had Tim Tran join Pete as a field marketing coordinator, assisting the field marketing efforts in APAC. So also I want to highlight that they kicked off in APAC a Girls in Tech partnership, which is a 12-month-long program, several speaking engagements, and virtual volunteering opportunities throughout the 12 months. So I'm excited to see how that pans out. So while the team, you know, has been not physically in the field, we are busy continuing to bring leads in and through the funnel, piloting and testing new tactics. So just wanted to give a quick narrative on that. And without further ado, it looks like I'll hop into the questions doc and see what questions we've got. John.
Hey, Leslie.
Yeah, hey, John.
I got the first question. I think you've touched on a lot of things as it relates to my first question, which was how has your team adapted to, you know, this kind of hiatus for in-person events? But I'd love to know what kind of results are we seeing from the virtual events? You mentioned a few, you know, sold out quickly, but just curious, like what kind of, how would you say the virtual events compare to in-person events, you know, as far as a results perspective?
Yeah, I would say the number of attendees and the right attendees that we're getting in the room, in the virtual room, have been much higher than our actual in-person owned events. So that helps in driving better conversations with our SDRs and sales colleagues. And again, in terms of results, these workshops are targeted more at the consideration and decision stage of the funnel. So we'll see less MQLs. The way that our MQL scoring runs today, once someone goes through the funnel once, they can't go back through the funnel again. So think about the amount of times that you as a buyer, or that our buyers even go through the funnel and then they come back maybe a few months later. We don't re-MQL at this point. So what we expect to see is more higher contribution to pipeline as a result. So, and then I'll also add in the expense to run these virtual workshops is a lot less than running it in person if we're using our GitLab Zoom webcast technology. So we're able to spread our spend out a little bit more there as well. And then just one thing that I'll touch on too that I didn't already touch on was our account-centric approach. So we are working with the accounts that the reps and SDRs are really wanting to target looking at the intent data from our ABM tool demand base. So shout out, thanks Emily L for that. Serving up ads, driving to specific marketing tactics. So that's just another thing that we're also doing. And I don't know if Jenny or Reb or John May are on this call, but they've also done something really fun. Our Jeopardy with our current customers. I don't know, Jenny, I see you're on. If you want to touch on that a little bit, John might find that exciting in the community side of the house.
Yeah, so we actually had to move it because we had Family and Friends Day. So we're doing it this Friday. It's a happy hour where 3 of our customer accounts will face each other in a round of Jeopardy. And I have to thank our SA team for putting together such a cool Jeopardy board with a lot of GitLab questions. So we're looking to not only, and during this time, bringing it a little lighter, having our customers enjoy some time with us, and obviously with the hope that we can move along with them further in what their future projects might look like and what they need from GitLab. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting, and then we'll pass it along to the rest of the team so that everybody can host a GitLab Jeopardy happy hour.
Great, thanks, Jenny. Potter, are you on? I see you've got the next question.
Hey, yeah, here I am. So I was curious how, it's partially through COVID-19 being all remote and also just in general, how you're targeting mid-market and commercial specifically, whether it be events or campaigns, and how that approach differs from large. Yeah,
so it's really no different. So you've got your field marketing managers on your team call, and everything that we do, we always do with mid-market in mind. So if there's anything that you would like to see that you're not seeing, would love to have that conversation, but it's really no different.
Gotcha, thanks.
Thank you.
So I think I have the next one. So what's the word on the street? Do you think virtual will be true for the rest of the year? And then just to follow on to John's question, are we seeing like higher level decision makers at the virtual, or what type of audience are we getting?
Yeah, great question, Dale. So I do think that virtual will continue through the rest of the year. I think GitLab's in a unique position as a 100% virtual company. One of the marketing agility projects that we are working on right now is being excellent at virtual events. And I think our events team and my team and the NPMs are really leading the way with John's technical evangelism team and the technical evangelism team as well. I think we'll roll out a phased approach depending on how the outbreak continues. So looking into so there's a few, as you are aware, a few third parties events that we've already signed up for. So ensuring that they are operating in the way that's put out by their country or by the rules that are put out by their country. And then also, if our folks have to get on a plane to travel, or if they can just drive there, I think does factor into that answer as well. And then the second part of your question.
Yeah, just follow on to John is like, what type of decision makers are we seeing? Are we seeing higher level to virtuals, or is it basically the same type of people if they were live and in person?
Yeah, for our workshops that we're running, it's basically the same as if we were live and in person. We are sponsoring some specific, I wouldn't call them C-level, I'd call them director and VP level, where we are sponsoring to have those specific people in the room. And we are seeing folks there, but it'll be interesting to see, we're only 1 quarter into this. So as time continues on, really, looking at the data and what's the data telling us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, it's Hayden here. I think I got the next one. Had a question. I come across account intel surveying on slide 5. Just curious about that. Can you share a little bit more about what that is, how you do it, what's involved?
Yeah. I think, are you talking about slide 10?
I spotted it on, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
No, slide 9, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, just so I can be sure. So your team's actually running one of these right now on the West. So working with a third party they'll go through and they'll fill out 10 questions that we've strategically written so we can get to know a little bit more about their technology, about their what they're focusing on from a project standpoint. And then we get that data. Our SDRs are looking at that and then following up accordingly. So to go back to one of Jacob Potter's questions, we included enterprise and mid-market in that initial survey that we send over to the third party to reach out to these folks. And then from there, depending on their answers, our SDRs will go through and we'll specifically follow up. And the goal is SAOs and contribution to pipeline.
Got it. So it's the same survey goes out to multiple accounts. Got it. Okay. Is there a possibility to do like one specific account, like a custom survey for one account?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Hey,
Coughlin.
I got another follow-up. I didn't want to jump in front of Jacob with this, so I moved it to this spot. So you mentioned, that virtual events are less expensive than the in-person events, but in the deck, there's also a note that we're concerned about list and Zoom fatigue. So how do we balance kind of maximizing the, pipe to spend that these events are generating without burning our customer list?
Yeah. So that's definitely something that our team was concerned about. So ensuring that we're still bringing in net new names. And so what our design team and NPMs and field marketers came up with is a monthly newsletter where we are targeting, or where we've got all of our upcoming webcasts. So we're sending out one email to try to not hit that list multiple times. The other thing is we've got a financial services specific webcast coming up in a few weeks. So anytime that we can segment, we are doing that. And of course we want to segment as much as possible. And I know there's lots of teams between marketing ops working on further building out the segmentation within our Marketo so we can get a lot better at that segmentation. And then I will say too, we're also thinking through some fun ideas in Q3. So would love to brainstorm with you, John, as well. Madeline, are you on the call?
Yeah, I have the next question. 2 questions. Is the field marketing board the best location to find the events that are happening and when they are happening?
It is.
Okay. And then how do we know which accounts and contacts marketing has reached out to inform of these events and invite them if sales wanted to reach out uniquely to some accounts?
Yeah, great question. So when we send an email out, they are living in the salesforce.com campaign as marketing invited. And then a lot of times we also allow the sales nomination process to flow. So you can go in now, it's a little bit tedious. You have to go in one by one and invite the actual contact who you want to have invited. But the next morning at 6 a.m. their time, they'll get an email triggered and they'll sit in that campaign as sales nominated.
Okay. Does the campaign associate to the account level so you can see it under contacts or activity history? Where do we find those emails in Salesforce?
Yeah, you've got to go into the campaign itself, and then it's at the contact level, not the campaign level. So you can't go in and see like, you know, SAS has been invited to these number of things. It's at the contact level.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we've also got instruction in the handbook on how you do the sales nominated process. So if you or your team needs help on that, then just let us know.
Will do.
Are there any other questions? All right. Well, in the spirit of efficiency, I won't keep us on. I'll plug the Field Marketing Slack channel. If there are any questions, please pop in there, talk to us, ask us questions. Really appreciate the time today.
Thanks, Leslie.
See y'all.